So, what's up?
What's up? Struggle is up, brother. Oppression is up, brother. Salami, eggs, and bacon. My name is Dewey. Oh, ba, ooh. Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. Jenkins.
Nigga, what?
Yo, what's good? You know what I'm saying? What's poppin'? Welcome to another episode of that deep shit where we connect the dots. And on today's episode, we're gonna talk about something that's really, really important. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about conspiracy theorists and what role do they play in our ascension, in our evolution. You know what I'm saying? And our revolution, if that, you know what I'm saying?
So, brother, where your poems at? How you gonna call yourself a revolutionary and you ain't got no poems? If you were really down with the struggle, you'd have your sandals and capris on, brother. Where your head wrap? Where your sandals? Where your capri pants? What's going on?
So look, you know what I'm saying, conspiracy. Let's take a look and see what the what Google has to say about conspiracy, or the definition of conspiracy. According to Webster, Merriam-Webster Dictionary, conspiracy means the act of conspiring together, an agreement amongst conspirators, or uncovering a conspiracy. According to Wiki, a conspiracy, as far as law is concerned, is an agreement between two or more persons to commit a crime and sometime in the future. What it seems like conspiracy means is when two or more people come together with one common goal. That is what conspiracy means. Now, let's take a look and see what theory means, or theorist, okay? A theorist, according to Google, means a person concerned with a theoretical aspect of a subject. So, someone who's pretty much focused on a subject. Let's see what vocabulary.com says. Someone who considers given facts and comes up with possible explanations is called a theorist. A theorist observes various phenomena and uses reasoning to come up with practical ideas that must be proven. So it kind of seems like a theorist is someone who has an idea of such said subject matter that may or may not have been proven at the time that the statements are given. That's what it kind of sounds like. So now that we kind of broke down, you know, the mundane and the straight up and down definitions of the conjunction word conspiracy theories, let's really dig in deep into what a conspiracy theorist is. The metaphysical or the beyond the mundane version of that title, conspiracy theorist. Listen, there's nothing new under the sun at all, ever, okay? There's just memories that have been forgotten and now have been recovered, or is now being uncovered as we're progressing through this time of unveiling, through this shift, if you will, where all the things that were hidden are not being hidden anymore. And then when it comes to people's main sources of information, i.e. the internet, right? You got to understand that the internet is controlled. As much as of a wild west free range place that we think the internet is, trust me, the internet is controlled. In fact, the internet that we use is the simple public internet. There are many different tiers of the internet, some of which we will never ever have access to. This is when you start getting into the dark web and the deep web, and then there's even tiers that are beyond that, that we will never have access to, speeds of transferring data and information that we will never have access to. So that's very important to keep in mind as we go on with this video. Now, when it comes to conspiracy theories, you know, sometimes what I've noticed as of recently is that things are getting out of hand because of the distrust that society is gaining for our sources of information, the news, educational systems, government, things of that nature. So people are just starting to understand that the things that we've been taught may not necessarily be the truths, and that's quite understandable. Now, where it becomes dangerous is now we open the door for anyone to say anything, to explain anything, and if you don't do diligent fact checking and you just go with the first thing someone throws out there, you may be running the risk of becoming brainwashed very, very easily, you know, because the news ain't shit, fake news ain't shit, Google damn near ain't shit, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you have to have a certain source of common sense to kind of kick in to help your spirit and help your soul ascend, all right? So when we look at people that we kind of feel may be giving you some facts, I like to call it people who sprinkle sugar on shit. No matter how much sugar you put on some shit, it's still shit, okay? So a lot of times these conspiracy theorists will say some facts that are true, but they won't disclose all of the information. One of the main culprits of this is David Icke. Okay, if you look at David Icke and the information that he brings, it's like, okay, he'll tell you that reptilians are, you know, a group of white people who can shapeshift and, you know, do all kind of mystical, magical things. When I don't think that's the truth. And my whole thing is this: if David Icke brings that kind of information, then he knows a little bit more than that. There's no way that you know about shapeshifters and reptilians and you really think that it's just white people in England who are doing that, if at all, because they're not the real reptilians. The real reptilians, if you did any type of research, would be the Nagas. And we all know that the Nagas are melanated. So, like I said, you'll have these people who will give you some facts of truths, but won't tell you all the truths. Why is that? They're called gatekeepers, because the information on the internet is becoming so wide and so accessible to people. There has to be gatekeepers who will let you get so far, but will try to keep you from continuing your growth of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I'm saying? So you come across these gatekeepers all the time. Alex Jones is another gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? Agent provocateur. But then you'll get some people who may not act as gatekeepers knowingly. Like, they don't know that they're gatekeepers. You know what I'm saying? Because there are powers that be that will use certain people's stardom and the attention that they gain to keep people at a certain level. A lot of rappers fall into this category, and this is where you get you know, the whisperings or the rumors of Illuminati, and that's really not the case. There's no rapper that's probably in the Illuminati at all. That just doesn't exist. And like I say, and even with that, the Illuminati, who is that? That's just a title that they've given a group of people who are really not the true illumined ones. They may be using practices of the illumined ones, but to be truly enlightened and illumined, you know, this world would not be in the shape that it is if it was ran by people who were enlightened. You know what I'm saying? So those are not the real Illuminati. Okay. In fact, the real Illuminati are a lot of people that you don't even expect to be the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? That is the real light bringers, the real light workers, dark workers that you may find on any random YouTube page, giving you some light, speaking light with their words. You know what I'm saying? These are the true illumined ones, the true enlightenment ones. So yeah, but back to rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like B.O.B. Like B.O.B. for an example, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people be like, oh yeah, B.O.B. And I like B.O.B., you know what I'm saying? You know, he dropped a lot of conscious, thought-provoking music, you know what I'm saying, that pushed the boundaries of a lot of ideas. So I really was a big fan of B.O.B., especially because he can actually rap. So always been a big fan of B.O.B. But one thing that I noticed that he did in one of his songs, and I'm not going to disclose which song it is, but at the end of the song, he actually chanted a very powerful mantra in Hebrew at the end of the song. And I knew what it was, and I'm like, did he really just do that at the end of the song? Like, at the end of the video, actually. I'm like, whoa, bruh. You know, this is before the whole flat earth B.O.B. This was, you know, truth exposing B.O.B. So when I heard him chant the mantra in Hebrew, I was like, there's going to be some type of repercussions for that, putting that out there, because they don't want everybody knowing how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So next thing I know, maybe a year later, B.O.B.'s talking about clones and shit. Like, now he's just going way off the deep edge. I'm like, yo, my dude, like, what happened? You was really on some real shit, and now all of a sudden, now you gone. And then a couple years later after that, now he's coming with the flat earth. And just my opinion, just because I know what I know about what he said, I'm like, yo, this must be part of the agreement of what he has to do to clean up what he did. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, for the mundane person, y'all be like, oh, you know, flat earth society. But I'm telling you, you got to look deeper into what you're into. Look who's behind these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, who's really behind, you know, these actions of people, or these things that you may see. You know what I'm saying? Gatekeepers. You feel me? So I think B.O.B. is just paying his dues because he fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just ridiculous at this point.
Please, I think it's time for a poet. Doom comes like a vacuum, because death sucks and smells like a raccoon or a baboon. Death kills us like crack killed Pookie, like Schwarzenegger killed Dookie. Chewbacca was a Wookiee. Revolution.
Boo!
You know, and like I said, you know, and then like even with the flat earth thing, again, I hate that I even have to keep addressing this, but again, yes, there are multiple facts that people who believe in flat earth are correct about, but you must dig deeper than what you're doing. Don't just go off of that idea. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the truth is way stranger than fiction. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even going to get into that right now, but I will address it later. But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, I mean, so like even with there's a documentary about What the Health is like a great documentary. You know what I'm saying? It's promoting a lot of positive things that people need to hear, especially when it comes to health, nutrition, and diet. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not really knocking the message of What the Health, but I have to take a step back and look at anything that happens in society, especially when multiple people or a mass of people start to make a change or a switch. You have to understand that there's always an agenda. You know what I'm saying? There's always an agenda. So let's just take What the Health, for example. One thing that I noticed in that video, What the Health, is that the dude would call on the phone and talk to these high profile companies, heart associations and things like that, and start to talk to someone and be like, hey, did you know that meat causes this, that, and the third? And the person's like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't want to talk on the phone anymore. Dude, I don't think that you're talking to a higher up in a company about this on the phone. You're probably talking to a receptionist. But since I do edit film and I do a lot of creative works, I understand when you're putting things in certain places and what that does to the psyche. I understand that, you know what I'm saying? So when I see it, I'm like, that was purposely put there in a certain type of rhythm during a film. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, that wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't cool. Like I said, the message is fine, but there's certain things that wasn't cool. Like, you know, that the documentary was set up to look like, you know, something that was grassroots, and, you know, like a guy and maybe 2 or 3 people who was his crew going around doing these impromptu interviews or whatever the case may be. But if you look at the film, that was well produced. That was big money behind that. And another thing, when they went to go talk to people in their offices, you gotta remember who he's talking to. I'm talking about the documentary With the Health, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But he's talking to powerful organizations. And if you're in the middle of an interview and you work for a powerful organization and you cut the interview for whatever reason it is, you're not going to want that information to get out, no matter what kind of disclosure agreement that you've signed or clause or whatever you signed. These are powerful companies with big time lawyers, with big money. So if they don't want something to get out, it's not going to be out. If it's going to hurt business across the nation about meat and heart and all that, the pharmaceutical game has been around for a long time. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to let that get out. That's one thing I noticed. 2, even if they did sign a clause that didn't allow them, you know what I'm saying, or they couldn't allow them to get out of that interview, that means that whoever produced With the Health has big time lawyers behind them too. So why is this grassroots film have all this power and money behind it? There's an agenda there. When you follow the money, that's all you have to do. Follow the money. Then you'll start to see who's who, especially when it comes to conspiracies. You know what I'm saying? So, one thing I liked about the film, though, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just here to bash the film. I don't even know how I'm talking about it. I start talking about What the Hell. But I did like the film. I learned some shit, and but I started to follow the money and started to look at, like, well, who's going to benefit from everybody eating vegetables? Like, that's a good thing. Who's going to benefit from that? You know, the people who have or control the patents to the seeds to the vegetables. And then you start to uncover Monsanto. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, like I said, you have to start peeling back the layers of things. Don't just go off of, you know what I'm saying? Look, anytime you have a thought and your thought just switches to the right and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna start doing this. Gotta remember, somebody planted a thought. And when anyone else plants a thought into your head, man, you have to go over a lot of things to make sure that you're doing the right thing, because that's how brainwashing works. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point of me even bringing all that up is just to say that, remember, there are gatekeepers when it comes to this information that will keep you at a certain level. That's what they're there for. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing new under the sun. I'm just reiterating. And the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding is out there for you to obtain. Not necessarily is it out there. It's in here. So any answer that you need, you already know it. You just have to ask yourself the question. You know what I'm saying? Real shit, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm signing off, man. You feel me? Where's your dashiki, brother? Where's your sandals, brother? Where's your incense and your poems, my brother? If you're not keeping that shit 100, what are you keeping it then? Huh?